Seriously, Cuthbert, you went through all that trouble just to wind up calling my client to the stand. You and your client have the right to refuse, Mr. Mora, but I wonder how that will reflect on your client's character. My client says that she's willing to testify. However, we would like to propose a short recess. With these new developments, I'm sure you can understand that we have much to discuss. I see no reason not to grant the defence's request. Is this really okay? If we give them time to prep, they might realize what we're doing. I know. I don't think we have anything to worry about. They actually did take the time to make a full sprite of him. I honestly didn't think we would ever get to see him. In the interest of giving the defense time to deliberate, we will be taking an extended recess. Court is adjourned. Tyrion. Celeste, we're able to see it. Yeah, it's definitely there, and it sits on her shoulder most of the time. So she keeps it close to her. That's good to know. It looks kind of weird though, but I've never used detect magic like this before. Cuthbert? But Mr. Mora? There's something I need to show you. Preferably alone. Okay, we'll lead the way. Alright, we're there. Miss Tamora? Where are we going? I'm sorry about this. I'm sure you're confused. But please trust me, I'll explain everything. Ah, Tamora. And you must be Tyrion. Tamora's told me a lot about you. I see, but who are you? I've been called many names over the years, but my favourite has always been the Eye Taker. The Eye Taker. From the sounds of it, you've already heard of me. Miss Tamora, what is this? My daughter Eris has told me all about your work prosecuting this case. But I have to say I'm quite impressed. Getting a monkey to testify? I don't think even I could pull off a grift like that. You've pretty much blown past my expectations. Why, get to the point. Relax, everyone. Kids will be kids. I'm a father myself, you know. Anyways, I'll get straight to the point. I have a certain interest in the outcome of this trial. What are you talking about? Little Lady Frigga has been a client of ours for a long time. I've done quite a lot of favours for her, and the time has finally come for me to collect. Those debts that Steelwind mentioned, they all belong to me. But there's no need to worry, I know she's good for it. That is, if she can inherit House Frigga. What? Tamora's a good attorney, even without my help. If she's convicted, we could easily reduce her sentence by rubbing the right hands. But you see, there's that pesky Slayer rule. The thing is, Cuthbert, I need Beatrice Frigga to be acquitted in the current trial. So that's what this is about, House Frigga's gold? That's why you helped her murder William Frigga? Please, my goals aren't nearly so short-sighted. They're big plans, not just for Beatrice, but for this entire kingdom. And I need House Frigga for that. Just like you needed Justin Way. Tyrion? Ah, Justin. It's pretty a shame what happened to him. Don't act so innocent. He would never have tried to rob Dracogen if you didn't threaten him. Is that so? Do you think I just randomly showed up on his doorstep one day demanding gold? He was the one who came to me for help. I just told him to pay back what he owed. If he hadn't come to me, he would have been some other criminal. But that's besides the point. Enough about what I wanted from Justin. Let's talk about what I want from you. You want me to throw the case? Ah, I love this kid. I don't have to beat around the bush with this one. No one will doubt you, especially considering the amount of work you put into this already. You don't need to do anything. Just take a dive. And let someone else take the fall. No matter what happens, the court will blame someone for this. If it makes you feel better, I can assign Tamora to defend the old man and his monkey. That way, everyone can come out of this unharmed. Everyone wins. Except for the fact a murderer will be put in charge of House Frigga. Please. As if that's any worse than the people who are in charge of the Oberther noble houses. If you recall, there's already a murderer in charge of House von Sanctus. They're all dirty. You've seen it, haven't you? They rig the system. They pay, threaten, or even kill people to get their way. All we're doing is levelling the playing field. Tyrion, please, just listen to him. How can you just go along with this? I told you a long time ago that there were certain parts of my job that I couldn't tell you about. Well, this is it. This is what we need to do to beat them. Those rumours about you, they're all true, aren't they? Forgery, bribery, blackmail. You're guilty of each and every one of them. And he used him to do it, all so you could keep winning. You blackmailed Miriam, Miss Tamora. Oh, as if we should show any pity for that spoiled princess. Steelwind. She was attacked the day that Beatrice was arrested. Was that... I didn't know that's what they were planning. Despite my confidence in Tamora's skills, I'm afraid there was too much riding on this to leave to chance. You've got to make your own luck if you want to beat the system. How could you? She almost died! We never expected her to strain her injuries like that, and we definitely didn't expect you to take her place. So believe me when I say that I'm being uncharacteristically reasonable right now. How could you even consider working with someone like him? Do you think it's a little arrogant to judge her, Cuthbert? What? You talk about defending people as if you two are even close to being equals. But she doesn't have the luxury of looking into people's minds now, does she? You told him about the Eye of Horus? The future of magic is changing, kid. Like I said before, I have big plans for this kingdom, and I also have big plans for you. Do you think I would ever... Tyrion, stop. To be honest, I hate it as much as you do. But whether you like it or not, we need their help. But this is... Think about every client you defended. Think of Celeste. If you didn't have the Eye of Horus, what would have happened to her? If even one thing went differently, Pierce would have gotten away and Celeste would have been executed. You've taken chances and followed your instincts, and that's worked for you so far. But what if it's not enough? What if the system is too corrupt for you to fight against next time? With the Eye-Taker's help, you'll never have to worry about that again. If I had accepted his help sooner, I could have saved your mother. So, what's it gonna be, kid? You already know about what happened to that steel wind brat. So I don't need to tell you what'll happen if you don't play ball. But wait. No. What? Maybe you're right. Maybe I can't always win against the nobility unless I play dirty like they do. But this is wrong. Tyrion, I'm not going to compromise my principles. Not even for you, Mr. Tamura. I'm sorry to hear you say that, kid. I really am. But please, you don't have to do this. No. Celeste? What the? How did you get in here? My whole job is keeping this guy safe. Do you honestly think I'll just let you take him to an undisclosed location? It doesn't matter, as if one girl will make a difference. Well, what are you all waiting for? Is that really her? This monstrous aura. It has to be her. What the hell are you doing? You have us surrounded. Look, let's all just sit down and talk about this rationally. Perhaps a different approach is warranted here, Father. What? I could have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Cuthbert. I believe I can make him see things our way. I'm sorry, sweetie, but I can't... Well, you've never been wrong before. I'll leave them to you, love. Shall we go, you two? That was close. I don't think I could have fought that whole room while protecting you. You two are really courageous to a fault, aren't you? Eris, I appreciate you vouching for us, but I'm not changing my mind about this. Oh, I'm well aware of that. Why do you think I intervened? Oh, well, thank you. Is this really okay? Won't your dad be mad? I should be asking Tyrion that same question. You've seen your adopted mother's true colours and rejected them. How are the two of you going to move forward? She's not my... Isn't she, though? She lost any right to deny at the moment she took it upon herself to raise you. She only did that because I asked her to. It wasn't her choice. Oh, but it was. How old were you when your real mother was executed? 10 years old? Eris! Back then you barely knew Tamura. It would be a stretch to even call her a family friend. She was the adult in that situation, and what did she do? She fed your anger and hatred for the nobility, instead of allowing you to process your grief healthfully. Tamura took you away from your only friends and isolated you from society. She even homeschooled you, didn't she? But that's... As a result, you never formed any other relationships. You made your first close friend at the age of 20, and she was your client. Do you think that's a bit sad? She isolated you because she wanted to use you. That's not true. That's not why she... From what I've seen today, you clearly have no idea who Tamura is. Even with the Eye of Horus, you're clearly a terrible judge of character. Eris, you're going way too far. To save you from more heartache, let me give you one last piece of advice. Do you honestly think Celeste will ever love you? But what? I'm sure you understand now. Tamura can only afford to pay her exorbitant salary because of my father. You've already burned that bridge, so where do you think the Crimson Demon will go when you can't afford her services anymore? No, she's not. With Flynn Hart dead, she has to worry about her mother. Do you think she has the luxury of playing around with you for free? Or did you actually think she enjoys spending time with you? Tyrion, you have to look at this rationally. Any support or affection that she's given you has only been to keep you as an employer. Yet, you seem to know a lot about these things. I had to do a lot of networking when I was a mercenary. Do you know how many times I had to charm a merchant into hiring me? What? Why are you doing this? Because I want to finally... I'm just trying to keep you from getting hurt. It may seem cruel, but you have to be realistic about these things. You trusted Tamora, and she betrayed you. Try not to make the same mistake twice. Eris, that's enough. My apologies. I've been told that I've been too blunt sometimes. But I do hope you'll think about what I said. Anyways, the trial should be starting soon. We should make our way back to the courthouse. I'm genuinely curious to see how this trial ends. Hey, Tyrion? Are you okay? What did she say to you? Tyrion? Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm okay, really. Okay. Court is now resumed for the trial of Beatrice Frigga. Is the defendant prepared to take the stand? Tamora, I asked you a question. Is the defendant prepared or not? She is, if the prosecution still wants to move forward with. The prosecution will be moving forward with this. Please bring in the witness. Do you still see it, Celeste? Yeah, it's still there. Should I reveal it now? No, let's really make a point of it. Wait for my signal. Thank you for agreeing to take the stand, Miss Frigga. Mr. Cuthbert. It's my understanding that you were with the two princes for most of the night. Yes, I was. Which is why I'm still quite confused as to why I'm being charged for this crime. Out of everyone there that night, I'd have thought my alibi was the most solid. That remains to be seen. Clearly. Anyway. Since you still maintain your innocence, you'll have no problem going into detail about your supposed alibi. As you know, I was with Crown Prince Aster and Prince Alarak for the most of the... I keep calling it Alarak. There's no third A. As you know, I was with Crown Prince Aster and Prince Alaric for most of the ball. I went there after my meeting with my father, and I remained with them until I was arrested for his murder. Lord Steelwind and the King's Guard kept watch over me for the entire night as well. I neither had the means nor the opportunity to steal the sword of spell-eating and break into my father's study to murder him.
Objection!
And that, Miss Frigga, is where you're mistaken. You definitely had the means to commit both crimes well under the eye of everyone there that night. Now, Celeste. Aburio. Wait, what are you doing? Oh boy! Your Honor, the witness's testimony is clearly... Oh my god, what the hell is that thing? Tyrion, get behind me. A monster! It's a monster! Someone called the Inquisition, the King's Guard, anyone! Your Honor, can you please restore order? Your Honor. Yeah, he fed out the black door the moment he saw me. It can talk? It's a demon, it must be. It's just like the legends say. Can we all just calm down? Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? I said, sorry, I didn't know it was a... Actually, what are you? Are you a demon? Why, yes, I am a demon. Demons actually exist? I thought they were only a legend. Your Honour, not only do demons exist, the defendant has made one into her familiar. She's only blind in the literal sense. She's constantly looking through the eyes of her familiar to see. And? What do you mean, and? It's pretty obvious that making a pact with a demon is incriminating by itself. Tell me, Your Honour, do the laws of Wyvern permit entering an accord with a demon? They don't, but then my client has committed no crime. Even so, I really would have preferred not revealing Muranath like that. Muranath, is that your name? It is what most people call me. What an occupation. I suppose you have a point, Tamora. Having a demon as your familiar isn't technically illegal. However, this does prove that the defendant had a maid to commit the murder, all under the eye of everyone in the ballroom. She could have sent Muranath upstairs to the gallery and then had him steal the Sword of Spell-Eating. After that, they would just need to traverse the vents into William's study, just like Eugene did that night. The fact that her familiar is a demon proves that she couldn't have done that. What do you mean? You saw how everyone reacted when they saw Muranath's form. A monkey may have raised some eyebrows, but someone surely would have reported Muranath if they saw him. Tamora, your client is a master of illusion magic. Can I assume we'll find invisibility in her spell compendium? You might. And with the connection granted by familial bond, she could have cast this spell on men, regardless of where each of them was. I'll admit that my client does know how to cast invisibility, but your theory raises another question. Could my client continue casting it unnoticed? Continue casting it? You'll understand once I go over the order of events that night. At an unknown time, someone stole the Sword of Spell-Eating from the Haraldson Gallery. Due to the timing of this, I'll admit that it would be logically consistent if my client was the thief. However, sometime later, my client met with the Crown Prince and was watched closely by the King's Guard. From witness accounts, including yours, we know that this happened at 12:45 AM. And since this time, my client didn't leave the King's Guard's sight. It was around this time that William Frege retreated into his study and locked the door. He made a point of telling everyone that he didn't want to be disturbed. Then, at 1:03 AM, Lord Haraldson finally discovered the sword was stolen. He reported the theft to the King's Guard and they activated the lockdown system. Shortly after the report, Leffie Frege tried to speak with her father about the theft. William Frege reiterated that he did not want to be disturbed. Leffie saw his face and there weren't any traces of illusion directly on his body. This means that William Frege was still alive at this time. Unbeknownst to everyone at the time, William Frege was attacked by the murderer at 3:12 AM. This is confirmed not only by Jen Hughes' testimony, but also by the autopsy report. Then, at 3:26 AM, the King's Guard found the Sword of Spell-Eating in my client's old room. The King's Guard tried to arrest my client for this, but the Crown Prince told them to stand down. Finally, at 3:36 AM, the lockdown was lifted. Johnny Hughes reported what he heard, and that's when the Inquisition and the King's Guard discovered the body. The theft must have happened before 1:23 AM, when it was actually reported. In order to keep Muranath concealed at every step, my client would have needed to keep him visible from 1:03 to 3:12. Not only that, she needed Muranath to wield the Sword of Spell-Eating to ignore the effects of the anti-magic fields. Which means he would need to be invisible for more than an hour. What's your point? My point is that invisibility has a duration of 1 hour. I'll admit that my client could have cast invisibility before she met with the Crown Prince, but if she wanted to keep Muranath invisible, she would have needed to recast the spell at some point that night. And as you know, my client couldn't have done so during that night without the King's Guard noticing it. Your logic makes sense, but that can only mean the defendant refreshed the invisibility right in front of everyone watching. In front of the entire King's Guard, the two princes, and Lucio Steelwind? As unlikely as it is, it's the only conclusion I can come to. I had a feeling you'd say that, which is why we have a witness who can confirm that Beatrice didn't perform any magic that night. A witness? Your Honour, the defence would like to call Prince Alaric to the... I mispronounced his name again. Prince Alaric to the stand. I see. You would have certainly been close enough to notice the defendant casting magic. But wouldn't the Crown Prince's testimony be more suitable? Are you trying to say that Prince Alaric is unqualified to give proper testimony, Your Honour? No, of course not. Is the Prince ready to testify? Thank you for coming in, Prince Alaric. Could you please... Hold your tongue, knave. You will speak when you are spoken to. Oh god, he sounds exactly like Miriam when we first met her. Your Highness? Mr. Cuthbert believes that the defendant used her magic while she was with you and the Crown Prince. I already gave my statement to the investigators. This man dares to question my testimony. Yes, he said it, not me. But very well, if my testimony is required to strike down these redundant accusations, I will bestow it upon you. Redundant? Don't you mean ridiculous? Mr. Cuthbert, do not dare to suppose what His Highness really means. His boots must be shining from all that licking you're doing. What was that? Nothing. You think Lady Frigga cast magic right in front of me? Don't be a serf. She was under the careful watch of the King's Guard, my brother, and Lord Steelwind. We conversed for the whole night, and I didn't see her cast any magic. She's been through so much over the last few years, all because of her horrid father. She'd never do something like this. You and Lady Steelwind are just jealous. Celeste, usually when you cast Detect Magic, I can see magical energies overlaying your eyes. Yeah, there's always a visible magical effect on the target when I cast a spell. But Muranath was probably in another room. The King's Guard wouldn't see the initial magical effect of invisibility. Even if there wasn't a visible effect in that room, she would have still needed to say the incantation and perform the gesture with her hands. Right. Like how you shout Reperio Arcanum every time you scan a crime scene. I don't shout it. Anyway. Don't think she really would have needed to be honest. Celeste, what do you usually need to do to cast a spell? There are a lot of factors involved, honestly. Stamina and focus are a big part of it. Assuming that she's in perfect condition, what's the bare minimum that she would need to do? Well, she would have to focus her magic, say the incantation, and perform the gesture with her hands, all at the same time. If I recall correctly, you and your brother were with her until she was arrested for the murder. What did you speak about? She told us stories about what she did while she was away. She was researching something. I forgot what she said. Something about the old cult. Do you mean the occult? Yeah, that's it. She was researching ghosts and demons. Anyway, Your Highness, could you please add this to your testimony? If I must. The occult are a fascinating phenomena.
Objection!
Your Highness, according to your testimony, the defendant told you that the occult are a fascinating phenomena. Is that exactly what she said, word for word? Yes, the stories she told us were quite interesting. They really struck a chord with me. I see. Well, even if they were interesting, your testimony proves that she did cast the invisibility spell that night. Are you deaf? I already told you. No one heard her say any incantations, nor did they see her perform any gestures. Unfortunately, your testimony proves the contrary. Beatrice Frigga said an incantation and performed a gesture right in front of you, all without anyone even knowing it. But what? Your Highness, there are two components required to cast invisibility. First, the caster must speak the incantation Olcultere and clap both of their hands together. As I'm sure you noticed, the defendant has a habit of clapping both of her hands together to calm herself. Now that I think about it, that habit must have come from constantly casting the spell. The defendant requires Muranath to see, so she must constantly cast invisibility to keep him invisible. Cuthbert, you may have an explanation for how she hid the gesture, but she would have still needed to speak the incantation. However, she did speak the incantation. The witness's testimony proves it. What are you talking about? I never said that she spoke any incantation. Your Highness, the incantation of her invisibility is occultary. Now, recall what you said in your testimony. She said, the occult are fascinating phenomena. The pronunciation of that one phrase is identical to the incantation. I see. So, she hid the incantation in her conversation. And because her target was a creature that was outside of the ballroom, no one saw the magical effects. This means that Muranath had the means to murder William Frieger just as Eugene did. Having the means is completely different from having actually done it, Cuthbert. Very few people had the ability to shatter the display case to steal the Sword of Spell-Eating, and even fewer people had a familiar small enough to traverse the vents. Which also makes Haraldson's familiar an equally likely suspect. And unlike my client's familiar, he admitted to breaking into William's study that night. If your client's familiar is truly innocent, then why not have him testify before the court? I see. Well, it's not as if he's the first unprecedented witness we've had today. Is Muranath willing to testify, Mr. Mora? Your Honour, unfortunately Muranath is unwilling to testify. Why the change of heart? My client's familiar may be a demon, but he's afforded the same rights as any other person. He's not obligated to testify. And, according to the legends, demons take great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people. I'd see. Muranath is well within his right to refuse, if that's what he truly wants. It is. Well, I suppose it's for the best. I doubt he'd be able to corroborate your story at all. Considering his diminutive figure, I don't blame him for being a coward. But, Mr. Cuthbert, could you please refrain from provoking the literal demon? Oh, it's fine, Your Honour. He can't do anything without his master's word. And between him and the defendant, it's clear that Beatrice is the brains of the operation. You shut your filthy celestial mouth. Muranath, what are you doing? I will not stand here and be insulted by a bloody Heavensborn. I am still within my contract. I will not flee from the likes of him. You want my testimony? I'll give you my goddamned testimony.
Objection!
Your Honour, my client does not consent to having her familiar testify. Tamora, didn't you say earlier that Muranath is afforded the same rights as any other person? He has the right to refuse to testify, but only he can decide if he wants to exercise it. And he's clearly intent on giving it. So, Muranath, why don't you testify about what you were doing on the night of the murder? Gladly. And here I thought things couldn't get any more ridiculous than the monkey. I provided sight to my keeper while she spoke with the princes. I'll admit that she did cast invisibility on me during their conversation. She needed to keep me hidden, after all. But I never left the room where my master was. Nor did I steal the Sword of Spell-Eating. You have nothing on me, Heavensborn. You don't even have proof that I entered William Frieger's study. Do you honestly expect us to take your word for it? Or do you have any evidence to support your alibi? I only speak the truth, Heavensborn. There were mages other than my keeper that could have stolen the sword. And by your own admission, none of your witnesses saw me on the night of the murder. The one lacking evidence is you.
Objection!
Beatrice was one of the few mages present that could shatter the glass. Yes, but being able to do something and actually doing it are two different things. And did your master leave the room while she was with the princes? No, I'm sure you remember. My keeper was under the careful watch of the Kingsguard and Lucio Steelwind. And you're maintaining that you never left the ballroom. As I said, I never left the room where my master was. Wait, does that mean she normally casts invisibility every hour? My keeper is a powerful mage, and my pact with her has only made her stronger. Wow, that's actually really impressive. Really? Casting spells may look effortless, but continuously casting spells takes a lot of stamina out the caster. She must have a lot of stamina if she can cast a high-level illusion every hour. Is this something that you frequently do? Yes, my keeper's accident left her completely blind. She looked through my eyes to see her surroundings. And did she look through your eyes while she was with the princes? Yes, she did. Why do you keep calling me that? Oh, does the Heavensborn not know the nature of his blood? Wait, do you know where my abilities come from? Oh, how marvellous. You don't know, do you? If you make a pact with me, child, I can tell you the nature of your blood, and much, much more. But Mr. Cuthbert, please don't make deals with the devil in my courtroom. I wasn't planning to, Your Honour. He's definitely more direct than most witnesses. Yeah, but he's still clearly lying. There's something off about the way he's speaking.
Objection!
Fair enough, it looks like you misspoke and used the wrong word. What? Through most of your testimony, you referred to Beatrice Rieger as your keeper, but you referred to her as your master during one statement. Why is that? So I'll ask you again, did you leave the ballroom that night? I didn't leave the room where my master was. That's why they have to get so schnickety with loopholes and things in their contracts. Witness, can you repeat the following statement for me? Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. What kind of ridiculous request is that? I'm afraid I must agree, Mr. Cuthbert. Please don't waste our time. I'm just conducting a little experiment, Your Honour. So I'll ask you again, Muranath. Say the following phrase: Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. Your Honour, Cuthbert is clearly making trivial requests to stall for time. His request is not worth response from the witness. That's not what I'm doing, Tamora, and I think you know that. Muranath, we truly don't know much about demons aside from the stories told in myths. So is it possible that demons are physically unable to lie? Damn it. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but that seems quite ridiculous. Why wouldn't the witness be capable of lying? I genuinely don't know, Your Honour, but his testimony speaks for itself. He can easily refute it by granting my request. Say, Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green, witness. You said it yourself, Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. That's not what I asked for, witness. Repeat the statement I told you, word for word, nothing after or before it.
Objection!
Your Honour, the prosecution's argument is absurd. The witness is not obligated to fulfill such an outrageous request. I might be compelled to agree with you, Mr. Tamora, if the witness wasn't clearly avoiding fulfilling that request. Well, we're all waiting, Muranath. You can easily prove me wrong by repeating my statement plainly. Ugh, you filthy heavensborn. Say it, Muranath. Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is... Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is... blonde. Technically, it's a dirty blonde. Oh, shut up. Is Mr. Cuthbert correct, Muranath? Are you actually unable to lie? I think his silence speaks for itself, Your Honour. Remarkable. I would never have imagined. And with that, proving my case becomes a much simpler matter. Muranath, did you murder William Frieger? I'm sure you understand, witness, under these circumstances, staying silent is basically an admission of guilt. You have no reason to stay quiet, Muranath. Tell him the truth. Lady Beatrice, what are you... I believe it's time to come clean, don't you, Muranath? I see. So that's your play. Don't think you can just stall for time, Miss Frieger. Muranath has no choice but to answer the question. Do it, Muranath. Tell the court the truth. To answer your question, yes. I did murder William Frieger. What are you doing? Miss Frieger, does this mean you are confessing to the murder? Oh, Your Honour, I am not admitting to anything. This confession comes from Muranath himself. But your own familiar just... Let me ask you a question, Muranath. Did I order you to murder my father? No, you did not, Lady Beatrice. But what are you talking about? You're lying, aren't you? Demons are physically unable to lie, Mr. Cuthbert. Still, this isn't over. Oh, is that so? Let me tell you, this trial was over the moment Arya turned her blade against me. I don't care who you are, man, king, or demon, you're not getting away with this. Oh, I do love the gravitas behind that, but I wonder how long it will last. Hit me with your best shot, Heavensborn. Beatrice Frieger, you may not have technically ordered your father's murder, but you were clearly acting with malice. You brought something dangerous into the manor, something that you knew could harm your father. Oh really? And what would that be? What was so dangerous that it implies lethal intent? So much evidence to sift through. Shall we just go with the obvious again? We shall. You brought Moranath into Frigga Manor that night. You were clearly planning to murder your father from the start. I require Moranath to see. That does not imply lethal intent. But you brought a demon into that house, and as a result, your father was killed. That's hardly an innocent mistake. My client specifically asked her father if familiars were allowed. We even received a written legal confirmation beforehand. But he couldn't have possibly expected her to bring in a demon. He didn't specify not to do this. The presence of Moranath did not break any of his rules, nor any laws made by the kingdom. Right you are, Timora. I can hardly be blamed if my familiar acts without my knowledge. How can you be blameless in Moranath's actions? He's your familiar. By that same logic, shouldn't you also blame Lord Haraldson for the actions of his pet monkey? If I recall, he broke into the study, tampered with the crime scene, and then left my father's body without reporting it. That's... Moranath and Eugene are intelligent and sentient creatures. They have their own autonomy. Their keepers aren't legally responsible for their actions. Very much so. But you still cast invisibility to keep Moranath hidden that night. Mr. Cuthbert, I always cast invisibility on Moranath. I can't very well let people see him. Face it, Mr. Cuthbert, you have nothing on me. Every crime related to the murder was committed by Moranath. I mean, I know what you want me to do, I'm just not sure how you want me to do it. Which piece of evidence would you like me to present? Probably this one. Beatrice, Moranath required your magic to break the wards guarding the Sword of Spell-Eating. You may be able to explain why you cast invisibility that night, but you can't explain why you cast an evocation spell powerful enough to shatter that display case. Oh, that. I'd almost forgotten. I plead guilty. But what? For the charge of grand theft, I mean. I ordered Moranath to help me steal that artifact so I could sell it on the black market. I would have never imagined that he'd use it to murder my father. I'm not sure any of these will particularly work. Moranath, the sentence for first-degree murder is death. Are you really willing to die for your keeper's crimes? Oh, you stupid Heavensborn. Demons never truly die. When our bodies are destroyed, we return to the abyssal hells. Hell? If I were to die in accordance with your laws, I would only return to my plane unharmed. What? Even if I could die, a fate much worse than death awaits me if I fail. So, do you have anything else, Mr. Cuthbert? I didn't think so. Your Honour, it appears we found the true culprit. I can't believe you killed my father, Moranath. I'm so cross with you. I should give my apologies. I won't do it again. Not exactly a thing that you could do again. Don't worry, I forgive you. Now then, is there any reason why this trial hasn't ended already, Your Honour? Come on, don't you have anything else? Damn it, not again. Oh, is that all you can do now? Glare at me? Moranath, what did you just do? I've been watching him. He's been using an old celestial trick. But it's weak. Your divine gaze won't work here, Heavensborn. You... It looks like that was your last piece, Cuthbert. What is it you like to say in these situations? Checkmate, Cuthbert. Well, I have to say, this was one of the more eventful trials I've ever seen. It was many things, if not enlightening. But I suppose it all ended the same. While I find the defendant's actions quite suspect, I must agree with their argument. Aside from the theft of Lord Harrelson's exhibit and the Miss Friega's actions that night are illegal under Wyvern law, and there's no proof that the defendant is responsible for her familiar's actions. With these revelations, I see no room for debate. We'll be taking a brief recess. I'll announce my verdict once we resume. This world is bleak, merciless, and unforgiving. But I've seen you. I know how bright the light within you is. Use my eyes. Peer beyond the divine gate as I once did. You saved Celeste, and Wallace, and Drakagen. Or when no one else would stand up for them? Was helping them a mistake? You fought for a dream that doesn't exist. But that doesn't mean you can't make it real. It's true that you followed Tamora's lead, but you've always done what you thought was right above anything else. You wouldn't have stood up to that criminal if you truly didn't know right from wrong. And you wouldn't be standing here if you'd just done as you were told. What do I do? I'm not going to tell you that. You already know the answer. What does it feel like we're about to awaken a persona? You've always known the answer. In order to convict Beatrice, I need to prove that she was responsible for Moranath's actions. People leave trails. Even when they think they've committed the perfect crime, something always gets left behind. There has to be something that proves Beatrice gave Moranath the order. Beatrice's relationship with Moranath is clearly different than a relationship between two humans. There's a specific way their relationship works. Or their pact, as Moranath calls it. Alright, the sword of spell eating is said to have been forged using a pact between a demon and a mage. Isn't making a pact with a demon just asking for trouble? They'd definitely betray you the first chance they got. Well, legends say that demons often drafted blood contracts for this reason. Wait, do you mean like a legally binding document? The concept is similar, but once you sign a blood contract, both you and the demon are magically compelled to fulfill its terms. That's right. Beatrice must have made a blood contract with him. A legally binding document like that must describe how their relationship works. Laffy did tell you that Beatrice would never trust someone that she couldn't control. So, she would only put herself in a situation where she had full control over Monath's actions. But it's not as if they'll ever show it to me. It would be a tall order to prove that blood contracts exist. I guess you have a point. But if you ask me, I think you've done a wonderful job so far. So, just this once, let me guide you the rest of the way. What? Tyrion, your eyes don't actually read minds. They give you the means to reveal truths that are being concealed. You can pull the truth out of anyone, and anything. The truth? So, say it together with me. Murnath, dweller of Avernus. Wait, what are you doing? For the Eye of Horus, I issue upon you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Beatrice Frigga. Hello there, evidence. 50 pages long. What in the nine hells was that? Yet you, when did you learn to... Mr. Cuthbert, what just happened? I've no idea, Your Honour, but I just made the witness manifest their blood contract. You did what? Blood contract? You can think of it as a legally binding document. It lays out the terms of the pact between Beatrice Frigga and her familiar. Incredible. Where did he learn how to do such a thing? The library? Well, to think that our kingdom had access to such knowledge. Yeah, I'm not buying it. How did you really find out how to do that? It's a long story. Anyway, the defense's argument is such. Murnath was acting alone, and the defendant is not to blame for his actions that night. However, take a look at page 7 of this blood contract. It specifies that Murnath is prohibited from killing any and all humans. There's only one scenario where he can do so, and that's when Beatrice Frigga designates someone to be exempt from this rule. You. Beatrice Frigga, you didn't directly order Murnath to kill your father, but you implied it by telling Murnath that he could kill him. Not only that, you did so within the 24 hours of the Lord's Ball. Your intent was clear. You brought Murnath into Frigga Manor with full knowledge that he could and would kill William Frigga. And that is checkmate. And just when I thought the surprises were over. But in the end, we arrived at the truth. I suppose I can't disagree with that. What do you have to say for yourself, Lady Frigga? Do not call me that. It's almost funny that you hate your name that much. Your entire plan depended on your claim to the Frigga estate. Do you have any idea what you've just cost me? Everything has been ruined because of you. Why should I care? You're just another noble, trying to steal power for yourself. Don't you dare lump me together with those tyrants. We wouldn't have just liberated House Frigga. We would have liberated everyone. Miriam, Laffy, Arya, even Asta. Our system is broken. The only way we can fix it is by burning it down from the inside. As long as King Olov... That's not quite an Oliver. Olivia sits on the throne, this suffering will only continue. But, Lady Frigga, as the prosecutor, I should warn you, you don't want to add treason to your list of crimes. It doesn't matter. I'm done either way. Heavensborn. Look at page 46 of the blood contract. By accepting this pact, Beatrice Frigga forever binds her soul to the abyssal hells. If Beatrice Frigga fails to pay her debt by claiming House Frigga and all of its assets, her soul, her mind, and her life will be claimed by the Empress of Discord. Arya was almost right. She just jumped to the wrong conclusion. My debts were never to the Eye Taker. They were to the abyssal hells. Why would you agree to something like this? Because I miscalculated. In this folder are records of your many plots against House Steelwind and the Crown. It would be a shame if this information fell into their hands. You think this feeble attempt at blackmail will frighten me? I dealt with far more formidable adversaries than you. There's nothing I can't solve with House Frigga's resources. What are you talking about? Lucio Steelwind isn't the type of person you can simply buy. It's clear your time away has taught you nothing. Everyone can be bought. Before I left, he controlled every aspect of my life. I saw him as this unstoppable, tyrannical force. But I never even considered one possibility. That William Frigga was a sheltered moron. He honestly thought he could pay off Lucio Steelwind. Anyone who's met him would know that would never work. I could have sent this information to House Steelwind and the King, but I was running out of time. I needed to inherit House Frigga as soon as I could. I felt trapped. I felt angry. I just wanted something to change. A blood contract is still a legal contract, isn't it? What? If it's a contract, we can dispute it. We can find some kind of loophole to get you out of it. What? Trying to redeem the enemy you just defeated? You really are a Heavensborn. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I won't accept your help. What? Why? We can at least try, right? Did you seriously come this far just so you could die? To dispute a blood contract is to bet your own soul. If you fail to render it null, your soul will be dragged to hell alongside hers. Even your divine blood won't save you from that fate. But still, I can't just... You've beaten me, Mr. Cuthbert. I don't want to drag anyone else down with me anymore. Not you, not Laffy, not Miriam. Despite everything, I still have my dignity. I believe there's no further need to prolong this trial. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frigga and her familiar to a holding cell. I'll be passing my verdict shortly. Well... Bit of a bittersweet note to end on. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, as okay as I can be. Cuthbert, we need to talk. What's done is done, but the boss isn't going to take kindly to what you've done today. I know it's a long shot, but maybe if you talk to him, he'll... No. Cuthbert, this is serious. He's going to send people after you. Dangerous people. You can't just ignore this. How old were you when your real mother was executed? 10 years old? Tamora was the adult in that situation, and what did she do? She fed your anger and hatred for the nobility instead of allowing you to process your grief healthily. Tamora took you away from your only friends and isolated you from society. As a result, you never formed any other relationships. She isolated you because she wanted to use you. Please, just listen to me and... Shut up. Tyrion? How could you do this? How could you work with criminals? Cuthbert, everything you told me, all those ideals about protecting the weak, it was all a lie. Everything Commander White said about you is true, isn't it? I'm just trying to... I don't want your help. I gave up everything for you. My childhood, my home, my happiness. I left it all behind to chase the ideal that you told me you were fighting for. But it was never real, was it? You made me throw away everything, all for a damned lie. But I'll make it real. And I'll do it without you. Tyrion, You never cared about me, did you? All you cared about was using the Eye of Horus. That's not... Shut up, I don't want to hear any more of your damn lies. Go away. Get the hell away from me. I never want to see you again. Tyrion? Do you honestly think Celeste will ever love you? I'm sure you understand now. Tamora can only afford to pay her exorbitant salary because of my father. You've already burned that bridge, so where do you think the Crimson Demon will go when you can't afford her services anymore? Do you think she has the luxury of playing around with you for free? Or did you actually think that she enjoys spending time with you? Tyrion, you have to look at this rationally. Any support or affection that she's given you has only been to keep you as an employer. No. What? I can't believe it. We actually won. Tyrion, Celeste, there's no way for you to avoid checkmate next turn. Just surrender. There. What about that? Checkmate. Damn it! I've been acting weird since we arrived in Oranax. Does it have something to do with your mother? Please, just talk to me. I'm your friend, aren't I? But I'm not going to do that, Miss Tamora. Huh? Sorry, I just really need this right now. Should I stop? No, it's just... people are staring at us. Who cares what they think? They're nobles. They're gonna hate us no matter what we do. Hey, Celeste, there's something I've been wanting to tell you about. What is it? It's hard to explain, really. I don't even know where to begin. But it's about an ability I have. I call it the Eye of Horus. What a fine mess this is! That kid has completely and utterly ruined everything. As much as Tamora hates it, we're going to need to put him in the ground. I don't think that'll be necessary. Sorry, love, I know you're fond of him, but I can't let an insult like this go unanswered. He's going to have to pay the price. I think you misunderstood me, Father. I meant that this facade is no longer necessary. What the hell? Is something wrong, Father? Who the hell are you? You look nothing like my daughter, so why... It happened centuries ago, I believe. Your great ancestor hated the monarchy and needed a weapon to fight the mages of the noble house. So he made a pact with me. But what are you talking about? But things didn't turn out like he wanted, I'm afraid. Poor Lord Lerian's plot was discovered and his noble house was stripped of its rank and status. His very name was stricken from the annals of history. He was supposed to give me Wyvern, but I had to settle for claiming his bloodline. Lyrian, how do you know about my name? No one knew about that name, not even my real daughter. I know it's been centuries, but I haven't forgotten, John. Everyone in your bloodline belongs to me, including your daughter. What did you do to her? What I do to all my prey. I made her suffer. No. Did you know that she was crying out for you for months? I made her watch, you know. I made her watch as I took her place. All while the father that she so desperately called out for forgot who she was. All while my minions slowly and painfully tore her soul apart. You monster! You damned monster! I enjoyed her torment while it lasted, but even that couldn't satisfy me. What I really crave is the blood of a Celestial. That's what this is about, that stupid kid. But I can't have you kill my dear Tyrion just yet. At least not until I'm done with him. This man is your enemy. Your life's goal is, and always has been, to exact revenge on him. What the hell are you talking about? You. I lost everything because of you. They kicked me out the Inquisition because of your false testimony. But what? Let go of me. You killed my entire family. I won't let you get away with this. What are you talking about? I didn't do anything. Hey, isn't it the noble who killed all those children? I heard he got released by paying off the judge. What are you all talking about? Get away from me. Don't lie to us. We know what you did. No, stay away. Rip Eye Taker. We finally entered the final act, my dearest Tyrion. And from what I've seen, I think I know exactly how we're going to break you. I hope you're just as excited as I am. Do 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 do.